my background, it started with this picture here, my dad. My dad was an entrepreneur. I was a young, awkward kid who focused on building businesses. I didn't play with toys, not a lot. I focused on what would my company name be? And I would always talk to my dad about those things. And so entrepreneurship is something that is, I think it just is in me, just watching my dad build something from a concept into reality. And so I want to talk to you about my journey of how I got to where I am now, because I'm a student of this space. Like, I really am watching and learning from other entrepreneurs. I want to know their journey. The end is always interesting, but the journey, there's so much to learn. And so my background, I'm a serial entrepreneur, and I'm going to talk to you about that journey. But my background is in computer science. I went to school in Atlanta, Georgia. I went to a historically Black university called Clark Atlanta in Atlanta, Georgia. Then I went to the Georgia Institute of Technology, and I started one of my first companies while I was in college, going to school for computer science. And so as I have grown my career, technology has always been that thing that I love. I love business, but I love solving business problems with building technology product. And so I've been in technology and in cybersecurity for over 15 years. I've worked as an ethical hacker. I work with the Department of Defense, and I worked with many companies around the United States, showing them how a real cyber criminal can get in. But here I'm showing how, again, technology, I come from humble beginnings, but technology is really what saved my life. I got into technology at an early age. I knew I wanted to be there, and I spent a lot of times mentoring other kids that come from where I come from about technology. Here's just showing how I working with the Department of Defense. There's a movie, and I got a sign back in the back. I think you can't see it, but working with the Department of Defense, working in cybersecurity, working with the military, the Air Force and the Navy. I held a secret clearance, but I also was recognized by the National Society of Black Engineers for the work that I've done in technology and in business. And so my first, one of my company that led to what I do here today, we're HacWare. I'm the founder and CEO. HacWare is a cybersecurity AI platform that teaches individuals and employees how to identify phishing attacks that look like real phishing emails and text messages. And then it sends them a simulation where it's simulating that hack, just like I would as an ethical hacker. And then it changes that risky behavior with micro training that's right in the moment, that's personalized. And so here I'm showing a photo of how we started with humble beginnings in my home, like a lot of founders. We started in our home. It was a bootstrap business. And originally HacWare was a consultancy. So we worked with the Department of Defense and many other companies throughout the United States, showing them their holes in cybersecurity and then trying to build a software product. And so this shows I started with interns in my home, and then we got the idea for HacWare, and I'll explain a little bit more about that. But my journey starts with success and then failures. So after we moved out of my home into our apartment for our first office, that office was crappy. Like, we had thin walls. You could hear the next company over. That when we first got our office building, we were so excited to be in that crappy space. But then my car got stolen, and I couldn't figure out like how this could happen. We had a high, but now we have a low where my car is stolen, and now I got to try to figure out how to get a car when I'm not really making any real money. And so that was like a blow. But then we started getting those contracts coming in. So I mentioned the Department of Defense. One of my early employers was one of our first contracts. And so that allowed us to move into a bigger building. But again, you see my family here, we're painting the wall. I couldn't afford to get it remodeled. We had to do it ourselves. And it was just really exciting to see how we started from, we're still bootstrapped. We started from nothing, but we're not giving up. There's so many setbacks and so many no's, but it's all about continuing to push forward. And then, so now this was the consultancy, but I got the idea for the product for HacWare. I love products. The service side of our company was fun, but I always was trying to think about, well, how can we create a product that could actually automate some of the tasks that we're doing? And that's where I got the idea for what we're doing now, this fishing and training platform that's AI driven. And so February 2019, we came up with the product. It was called under a code name Mystery. And here you can see the dashboard. It was a terrible UI. It looked terrible, but the product served a need. And the need was companies are concerned about phishing, but they don't need the skill set. They don't have to be an ethical hacker to run phishing campaigns. They don't have to create the content. We wanted an automated platform that did that for them. And so we launched at Startup Grind in San Francisco. And we had Ernst & Young as one of our early partners in that endeavor. And again, I saw that we were on to something because some of the conversations led to, they wanted to acquire, we had a company in overseas in Chile who wanted to acquire our platform before we had any sales. We just had a product. And so here are some of the setbacks. So you're excited, we were launching, we got so much excitement at Startup Grind. I wanted to start trying to figure out how I can raise capital. Didn't know how to do it. I don't come from that world. All of my businesses before this were bootstrapped. And so I decided I wanted to apply to Y Combinator. Got the interview, but didn't get to be a part of the accelerator. And that was a blow because we didn't have any money. And I was like, we're about to go out of business before we even really get started because we don't have any capital. We're having these conversations about POCs, but we're not getting the type of money that we need to really grow and scale. And we were using my savings because I had saved a little bit before starting this venture. And then I just started pitching. I just started, decided I didn't want to give up. I'm going to raise awareness on what we're doing. We didn't have any marketing dollars. And so I was pitching at pitch competitions. So we were at, the Startup of the Year conference. We pitched at TechCrunch Disrupt as one of their top pick types of companies. And it was all about, we're just trying to keep getting eyeballs on us to bring awareness to us on a shoestring budget. And then I'm going to kind of speed through this because I know we got a little bit of time. We're a little short on time, but I wanted to just talk about how we didn't give up. We couldn't fundraise at the beginning stages with YC. I could have said, well, we just need to figure out how we're going to, get a loan. But I decided I'm going to take another approach and I'm going to try Techstars. And I applied to Techstars. We had a pipeline. We didn't have revenue. We had a pipeline. We had a team. And then we were able to get accepted into Techstars New York. So HacWare was founded in Dallas. We moved to New York, pitched that demo day, and I was thinking, oh, these companies now these investors are going to throw money at us now. We're in Techstars. They're going to throw money at us. Fundraising is going to be easy. It wasn't. And I made the mistake, which I want to help you all to understand, is we made the mistake of pitching to the wrong investors. We went to Sequoia and pitched to them. They don't invest at our stage, typically. Then decided, okay, we're going to pitch at Disrupt Battlefield, and thinking that, okay, we're a Battlefield company. We're a top 5 finalists. Now they're going to throw money at us investors. They did it. It was the middle of the pandemic, and investors weren't investing. They were, funding their existing companies, trying to give them more, runway, but they weren't investing. And we were still pre-revenue. And so I was thinking, okay, this could be the end, but I didn't give up. I decided I wanted to be a part of New York had a grant program where they were trying to get some of the cybersecurity companies to grow, build a network here. And so I got a small grant working with Cyber NYC, and that just allowed me to really focus and shift my mindset. And this was in 2021, where I shifted my mindset and I stopped thinking about how am I going to get investors to invest in me? How am I going to get them to throw money at us when that wasn't going to happen? And I decided in 2021 that I'm just going to focus on building a business. I'm going to focus on our product. We have what we need. We're going to get customers that way. And we decided every week to push out a new product update, put out a video and tell everybody what we were doing. And so that started attracting customers to us, and they were excited. They were looking for those updates. They wanted to see how the platform was growing. And then the other thing was, which we weren't looking for, that brought investors to it, to the point where we were getting a lot of inbound emails. And that helped me to understand, which is how I shift my mindset now, is I need to build a real business. I need to build a business with customers. I need to build a business with revenue and a product. This idea that you're going to raise money with the deck, if that's what you want to do, raise money, I didn't see any success there. You have to make it easy for investors if you're planning to raise. And so I decided at the end of 2021, because we had at the end of 2021, we had 62 customers, we had 2 strategic partnerships, and we had revenue quarter over quarter that was growing at about 150% growth. And so then I thought, okay, now we have these customers and these strategic partnerships. We need to bring on a more of a team. And so we need to think about fundraising. And so we did. It was a long journey, and I can tell you it was some successes where we raised one of our early term sheets was a bad term sheet. We had to turn down $1.5 million because it was a terrible deal. And then we found one of our lead investors, which is a Thai, I think he's a Thai board member, Elevate Capital. And then from there, we just build momentum where we were able to have an oversubscribed round. And so that allowed us to triple our team by 3 times. Now we have, we doubled the amount of customers that we have, and we have, a pipeline that's valued at about 16 million. So we're growing rapidly now. But as I think about our next round, I'm thinking again, we need to build a real business that's focused on revenue, customers, and then we'll have the power and the leverage to invite, investors onto our next round and pick and choose who we want. And so that's pretty much my journey. It's still going, but I just would like to tell everybody, don't let the setbacks stop you. And there's going to be a ton of setbacks. There's going to be a ton of no's. There's going to be a ton of people who don't understand why you keep doing what you're doing. But if you're passionate about it, if you can't sleep, if this thing is something that really is something that you just can't let go, then figure out a way to do it and have the mindset that you can do it without an investor. And once you decide I can build something valuable, scalable, and I don't need someone to validate my idea other than the customers who are going to pay, then that's when I feel like that's when you have real success.